You made it. It's week 4, the final official week of the Tarot Card Mastery course. There is a bonus lesson you can access, which is lesson 5, right after this video, but I want to congratulate you on making it this far. I know it is hard to stick with something for 3 weeks, let alone 4. You've just got one more week left, and we are putting everything we learned together so far. So we're actually sort of tweaking it to hit those problem spots in this lesson. Now, as a reminder, first, keep doing your daily tarot draw. It is the most important part of this course and of your tarot practice. Also, keep recording those smiley faces and check marks on your tarot card confidence tracker. By now, you should see some real change in that tarot card confidence tracker as you go through and add those smiley faces. You're going to keep adding those smiley faces at the end of this week and then as you take your learnings further. So right now, though, pat yourself on the back because this kind of growth is pretty amazing and it's so useful. So if you haven't already, please fill out week 3's column with the smiley faces on that tarot card confidence tracker. And then let's get ready. We're talking in this video and really this whole week about those cards that really seem to be tricky for everyone. So now what do I mean when I say like tricky cards? There's just some cards for some reason that people struggle with. Different cards are tricky for different people, but a lot of people seem to struggle with the same ones as well. So generally, the court cards are pretty hard for everyone, and the reversed cards are also a struggle. So those two are like big categories where we can kind of all agree that they're just a little bit more difficult than the other cards. However, you're going to have some unique cards that you alone never seem to remember the meanings of, or you sort of mix up their meanings with other cards, and that is totally normal. You are going to improve and get better through practice and experience, of course, and time and all of that will make this better, especially for those cards that you just uniquely struggle with. But I do have some tips and tricks on how to help make the whole process easier, whether it's for the court cards, the reverse cards, or your unique personal struggle cards. So we're going to start with your unique struggle cards, identifying them and figuring out some strategies on how to make learning and remembering them easier. So now, take a look at that tarot card confidence tracker. And you're going to see here on the right-hand side, there's 3 columns that say Stalker, Hidden, and Struggle. Now, we really only have 20 days or so of information, so there is no way you're going to have all 78 cards on this tracker, but keep tracking over time, and you're going to notice which cards show up for you all of the time. Those are your stalker cards. They're stalking you. You're going to also see which cards never show up for you. Those are your hidden cards. And you're also going to be able to identify your personal struggle cards. Now, when it comes to those stalker cards, those cards that just always seem to come up in your tarot readings or in your daily draw, you're not likely to struggle with the meanings because you get so much repetitive practice with them. You might be struggling with their message, which is why they keep coming up a lot in your life, but you're not really struggling with the meaning. So we are going to ignore your stalker cards for now. And like I said, because we really only have 20 days or so of information, you may only have 1 or 2 stalker cards identified so far, and they're not really stalking you very hard yet. But remember, it's the message they're trying to tell you, so you're not struggling with the meaning, but you probably will struggle a lot more with those hidden cards, those cards that never ever seem to show up. And so there's a few strategies for how to help us learn those hidden cards and your personal struggle cards. So one strategy is to just study and memorize them. And I think you should pretty much know how I feel about memorization right now. It just never works and it's stupid and boring and no fun. So we don't do that here. You can do that if you want, go right ahead. But A better way is to create a 2 or 3 card spread with just your hidden cards or just your struggle cards. So, what you do is you take your 78 card tarot deck and you remove all of the cards that you already feel confident about, the ones with those smiley faces, and you just use the deck remaining. So, the cards that you're having a hard time with, and you use just those more difficult cards to read your spreads for a while. The nice thing about this is that it forces your stalker cards out of the deck so they don't keep coming up. Instead, you're going to be reading based on those cards that you either never see because they're your hidden cards, or they're the cards that you really struggle with because you never remember their meanings. So you keep doing this with an abridged, shortened deck again and again until you feel confident and comfortable with the card meanings of those hidden and struggle cards. So when you become confident with a card, you just remove it from that deck until the deck gets shorter and shorter over time. Now, this is not always a whole lot of fun because you are reading cards that are hard for you, but you're also getting so much more practice with those cards and they start to get a lot more comfortable over time. And the process does speed up as that deck gets smaller and smaller. It really doesn't take a year. It doesn't even take months. We're talking weeks here. So just regularly doing a few days of practice using it this way, especially if you've got like a main deck for your fun readings and then you use this abridged deck when you really want to study. So like you can have 2 different tarot decks going at the same time. One for your fun readings and one for your like more learning study type readings. You're going to see that your tarot card understanding of your struggle cards is going to explode because you're getting so much practice with them this way. So another thing to try is to read for other people. So you'd use a full deck for this because other people have different stalker and hidden cards than you do. So your stalker cards might be their hidden cards and vice versa. They're likely to have different cards showing up in a tarot reading when you're reading the cards for someone else. And there's just like this different energy when you're reading for other people. It sort of puts the pressure on, you know? So make sure you're either reading for a complete stranger where there's no pressure and no strings, like find someone in a tarot Facebook group who's willing to let you practice on them, or you want to read for someone who loves you unconditionally and is willing to be patient with you, like some friend or family in your life. People love to get their cards read and like be experimented on almost. So just be honest with them that you're, still struggling through the process. You're still a beginner. You might have to use the book. Let them know that that's okay and that's what you're going to be doing. But even then, people will still love to have their cards read. And it's a really nice way to put like a little bit of pressure on yourself to remember those tarot card meanings in the moment, in practice when you're actually doing a tarot card reading. Another suggestion I have is to print out a second copy of this tarot card confidence tracker. And instead of having the columns be weekly columns, you do it for monthly columns. So you come back, just put a reminder in your schedule or your calendar or whatever. Instead of week 1, you come back 4 weeks from today. Week 2 is going to be 8 weeks from today, and so on. So you get like basically a half year or so of worth of information, and you'll see your growth over time as you stick to it, recording your confidence level, the smiley faces, in a monthly column. So we've been using it sort of on a weekly basis just so you get into the habit of it. But it is really awesome to be able to track your confidence on a wider amount of time. It is really hard to do all 78 cards when we only have 4 weeks because, it's only 30 days. So it'd be too much information really to cram into your brain. But if you are really looking at that 3 or 4 months of data, especially if you are doing that daily tarot draw pretty much every single day, you're going to have so much information and you're going to have smiley faces on pretty much every single card in that column. That way you'll also have a clearer understanding of your stalker, hidden, and struggle cards. And I do just want to stress that this stuff, it is not really hard, but it does take time. So please be patient with yourself. And the absolute best tool you have for reading tarot and for learning those tarot card meanings is your continued practice with the daily draw. And when I told you you used an abridged deck, you can use that to take out the cards. So you're taking out the easy ones and you're just left with your hidden and struggle cards. Use that on your daily draw too, because over time, that deck is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you feel confident with all those cards. And that is a really easy way to speed up this process. I know, I keep saying be patient, but we're all impatient people. So, some tips to make it go faster. Remember, there is no rule to this, none at all. Not really. Just lots of ways to get exposure and have fun with the cards until you really do feel confident with their meanings. All right, so now let's move on to the court cards. All of my students seem to struggle with the court cards, and I totally get it. So if you're not struggling with them, awesome. Just feel free to move on. But most people get stuck with those court cards. And one of the reasons is because most decks do not give you a lot of personality information on the individual images of the cards. It's like 16 cards that look like people, and they kind of all look the same, doing the same thing. There's just not a lot of differences to help you tell them apart. And then when you're reading the cards, how do you know if it's a person in your life or a role you need to play or a message you need to hear? How do you choose when you're actually doing a tarot reading? It's just that there's a lot to put together when you're doing the tarot cards. How do you choose which person in your life it is? If it is a person, it's just a lot. But like everything else, I've got some tools and a simple process to help you get through this. So one of my favorite tools for this is the court card map. And the court card map is a PDF you can print out, and you're going to find it below this lesson. And what it does is it helps you map the people in your life to the individual court cards that represent those people. That way, during a tarot reading, you're going to be able to say, oh, that's Uncle John. And then you read it as that court card is a person. It really helps to simplify the process. And of course, if you don't have anyone on your court card map that represents the tarot card that comes up, then you can be like, oh, there's no person in my life who matches this Knight of Wands court card. That must mean I need to play the role, or it's a message I need to hear. So again, it really simplifies that process. Below this lesson, I'm going to put all of the court card information I have into one lesson for you. So that way, if you're not struggling, you can just skip it. But if you are struggling with the court cards, you can dive as deep as you want to go. There'll be a video about the court card map and how to use it, as well as the printable PDF for your own copy of this court card map. And I'll also link to a playlist I have on YouTube that goes through the court cards as a group and then individually one by one. So depending on your level of struggle with the court cards, you can work your way through this playlist and you'll be able to help yourself out. And I want to let you know, I also have a mini course available that's a 5-day intensive all about the court cards. So if you're interested in that, I'll put the link down below for that as well. I don't want to give you all of this information if you don't need it at all, so you can pick and choose just what you need. Now, on to the reversed cards. Everyone struggles with tarot reversals, the reversed cards. It seems like you can become a tarot master, like top of the game tarot reader, reading just upright cards. But even those master tarot readers still struggle when the card shows up upside down with the reverse meanings. And part of this reason is that there are dozens of different ways you can interpret reversals. There's different systems of thought about it as well. So right now, I'm going to say that as a beginner, do not bother with the reversed cards. And I know plenty of professional readers who just never read them, or at least they don't read them for clients. They might read them for themselves, but reversals are an advanced topic, and you just don't need them. You don't need them at all, ever. So there are two ways to really sort of get them out of your deck when you're doing a reading. One way is to be incredibly careful about the way you shuffle, which I find annoying. So the other way is when you see a card that is upside down during a tarot reading, just flip it so it's right side up. And by upside down, I don't mean the back of the card is facing the sky. I mean that the card, the head of the card is like upside down. So when it lays on the table, that's all you have to do is just take it upside down and flip it right side up. How do you know when you're ready? I would say you can read reversals anytime you want. I would just suggest waiting until you're about 95% comfortable and confident with the upright meanings, because so many ways of reading those reversed cards are related to the upright meanings of the card. So it really helps to be confident about the upright meaning before you start tackling the reverse cards. Now, my biggest tip for you, you have lifetime access to this course. So when you are ready to read the reversed cards, why not come back to this course and go through the whole process again, just limiting yourself to 100% reversed cards for everything. So instead of doing the upright cards when you do your daily draw, you do only reverse cards. Every time you use this tarot card confidence tracker on your reversal, you track how confident you are with every reverse card's meaning. Your yes, no tarot spread, your 2-card spread, your 3-card spread, all of it that we've practiced so far in the course, you can do that using a deck where every single card is reversed. Exclusively using reversed cards for this course, going through it again, will help you learn them. But now we're wrapping up this course, or at least we're getting very close to the end. And so how can you continue reading tarot cards for the rest of your life after this course is over? Well, I'm sad to see you go, but I have hope you've gained enough of a tarot understanding that you can take this practice into the rest of your life. You already have all of the tools you need to explore a lifetime of tarot. You've got a tarot deck. You've got a way of recording your readings, like a journal or whatever. You're doing some type of journaling, whatever that means to you, that's going to help you not just learn those card meanings, but grow your spread reading ability over time. You also have a practice that you've gotten in the habit of called the daily draw. For every tarot reader, the daily draw is like the heart of their tarot practice. So now I want to let you know that your daily draw practice is going to grow and change over time as you gain more experience. And as you kind of get bored with it, which happens. Okay, so you will eventually find some pattern and rhythm to what happens with what your daily draw and how you integrate it into your life. Because it's not really just about learning the cards or pulling the cards or touching the cards. It's really about the messages those cards have for you and how they guide your life. And remember, everything is fluid. Everything is changeable. You do not need to stick to a single card when you're doing your daily draw. You could do 2 cards or 3 cards. Personally, I would find it annoying to try to do a Celtic cross spread every single morning because they just take so much time and I don't need that much information on a daily basis. It would be like a bombardment of information every day. But maybe that works for you. You do you. Take everything you've learned here and just make it yours. Remember, there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there is only your way. Now, we are not done with this course, even though I'm talking as if we are. You have 1 more week left, which means you have another 5 days out of 7 to do your daily draw. We're trying to really hope for a total of 20 out of 30 days for this course, bonus points if you do more. So do your daily draw for 5 days this week. And don't forget to use your Tarot Card Confidence Tracker this week to make the check marks when your cards show up. Use that tracker to help you identify your hidden cards, your personal struggle cards, and your stalker cards, and then continue to use it after this course is over. Remember, more information will help you understand this at a deeper level. And also, if you're struggling with those court cards, go to the course lesson with the court card information. Is it below here or the right or left? I don't know. You'll find that lesson, and that lesson is going to have a video about the court card map. You can also print out your own copy of the court card map and use it to identify the people in your life. And then watch as many of those court card videos as you feel like you need to really understand them. That's all your homework for this week. It's actually not so much. You don't have a lot of homework, and of course, you can continue returning to this course material for as long as you want. So right now, I want to invite you to watch the lesson that you get as a bonus, which is the bonus lesson number 5. I've absolutely loved sharing all of this material with you and helping you on your tarot journey. I can't wait to see you in lesson number 5, that special bonus. So I will see you there. And this week, have a great amount of fun with your tarot deck.